but yeah, everything politics is implied with most or all of the stuff that we're talking about. There's the lower level of people getting along, people mutually supporting each other, there being some structure, some control, some rules, and some individuality, some impetuousness or just impulsiveness. I didn't mean to say impetuousness, but impulsiveness. Yeah, just something, some kind of, I don't know, balance between freedom and responsibility. And then, yeah, going up, you need some kind of general kind of structure. And in the Robin Hood tales, it kind of, you know, it talks about the sort of lower to mid level and doesn't get too much into what maybe a good constitution should be or something, but it implies all that stuff. So it makes sense that we'd sort of start to talk about that.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe we'll continue to this is sort of I don't know, like part of what I see as kind of my my helping to give me meaning or my project is to this podcast is sort of named after my name and then open-minded thought and discussion. And I'm trying to kind of learn and receive and give and kind of have something like some kind of community, kind of reviving old stories and maybe bringing new stories into it, and trying to have something of a shared understanding that hopefully, I think like you're implying, will rise and whatever comes in the future, I do hope it's not part of the historical cycle of, terrible war that kind of destroys old structures and out of which eventually out of the ashes rise new one. I hope it's something more like a change in religion or something like that. That kind of I sort of look at those two things as like the two things that in history generally bring forth kind of new structure and mythos. And I hope it's more the religion part than the war part.
I agree. I agree. I think I don't know. I won't go into this too long because I feel like we're wrapping up and we were trying to keep this one short, but
Yeah.
I don't care. Um, um, I think this comes from the Gurdjieff tradition, but there's this idea of this sort of higher energy that comes into the world and um, brings about evolution, and not necessarily, I don't mean like, oh, animals evolving in it. I just mean growth and change over time, that things change in a certain direction. And that to the extent that we are able to be open to that new energy when it comes in and let it come through us and
Yeah, that seems right.
sort of be inspired by it and take action based on it.
Yeah.
Not in a dogmatic do what it says kind of way, but
Mm,
like, ooh, I feel excited I'm going to do this thing, as opposed
yeah.
to, well, I want to, but no, I can't, that sort of collapsing in around the energy.
Mm,
Um, that if we're able to do that, then change happens in a sort of natural flowing kind of a way. Like with Little John, it may get a little carried away. We might need to adjust ourselves, but we can kind of steer it this way. But when we collapse on it and the energy can't, because the energy's here, it comes in, and if we can't enact it, it has to enact itself in other ways
yeah.
that aren't cohesive and holistic and balanced because we've already said, no, there's no room for you. So it has to go do its thing somewhere else, and it becomes something in opposition to us because we've opposed ourselves to it. Um, and then it has to blow things up because the energy is moving. And when you have a strong force and it hits a structure, that structure is going to get shaken and shaken and shaken until the structure either moves with the force or collapses and the force moves through it. And we're
Mm,
we're at that kind of an inflection point. And
mm.
I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm definitely doing everything I can to get us to move with it. I think that's exactly what you're saying about the podcast too.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And I think that, just like in the name of the podcast, it's a discourse, dialogue, discussion. If we can keep talking, kind of, we can move this energy, mental, physical energy. We can, like Little John and the cook, see each other as friends and not as enemies in a corrupt and sort of lifeless and sort of petty motivating motivation system, and sort of see each other as friends, nature, and then yeah, and then we have some sort of Robin Hood to rein us in when we go a little too far, and then we can make up for it and kind of kind of do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I'm here for all that.
Okay. All sounds
Yeah.
good. Any last thoughts, or we
Let's
good?
call it. I think that's a good place to end.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, great talking to you, Ian.
Likewise.
Okay.
Likewise.